Hey everybody, welcome to News Influx. This is the show where you can get the progressive politics news and analysis that you need to start your day in just 5 to 15 minutes. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen, share the show with friends who need help staying informed, and rate the show 5 stars. It's Sunday, March 30th. Okay, special Sunday edition. I've never done a Sunday edition, but I just wanted to get you caught up on the news since I wasn't able to put out a show on Friday. And also, before we get started, I have a new podcast out called Crypto Influx. If you're looking for cryptocurrency news, it's my foray into a new style of media, Crypto Influx. It is powered by Notebook LM, which is a Google product. It's an AI podcast, so give that a shot. I think it's actually really cool. Check out Crypto Influx. Let me know if you love the AI voices, hate the AI voices. I think it sounds pretty darn good, and it's very informative if you want to learn more about the crypto news space. But let's jump into it. Donald Trump has expressed his anger with Vladimir Putin's approach to a ceasefire in Ukraine and threatened to impose significant tariffs, 25 to 50%, on Russian oil exports if a truce is not agreed upon within a month. This marks a shift, a dramatic shift, I'll say, in Trump's stance, as he had previously criticized Ukrainian President Zelensky. Trump stated that if he believes Russia is at fault for the lack of a deal, these secondary tariffs would prevent countries buying Russian oil from doing business in the U.S. In the same interview, Trump also threatened to bomb Iran if they don't make a deal to curb their nuclear program and mentioned the possibility of secondary tariffs on Iran as well. Additionally, he reiterated his interest in acquiring Greenland, suggesting he wouldn't rule out using force. The article notes that Trump's intervention comes after Finland's president indicated discussing the need for a ceasefire with a deadline and potential consequences with Trump. It also highlights the complexities of achieving a ceasefire given Russia's demand for demilitarization and annexation of Ukrainian territories, and recent Russian attacks in Ukraine causing casualties. Finally, and this is in the show notes below, but you can check out this article, and it briefly talks about a security incident in the White House involving leaked discussions about attacks in Yemen, but we've been over that on the show before. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is there's an interesting article also from The Guardian that focuses on the potential negative impact of a 25% tariff on imported vehicles, particularly on working-class car buyers in the U.S. It argues that since nearly all affordable cars under $30,000 sold in the United States are manufactured abroad, primarily in Mexico, South Korea, and Japan, these tariffs would likely lead to significant price increases for consumers. This could make these vehicles unaffordable for their target market or even cause automakers to discontinue these models altogether. The article also predicts that tariffs would drive more consumers into the used car market, increasing demand and consequently pushing up used car prices as well. This would further hurt lower-income buyers. But despite Trump's baseless assertion that higher prices on foreign cars would lead to increased purchases of American-made cars, the article points out that many foreign cars are actually made by American automakers in other countries. Experts also suggest that instead of boosting the U.S. auto industry, the tariffs could decrease overall vehicle affordability, leading consumers to cut back on spending in other areas. Detroit automakers have largely abandoned the entry-level car market in favor of more profitable trucks and SUVs, leaving the affordable segment dominated by imports. Analysts believe that tariffs could completely blow apart the business case for these low-margin vehicles. Some consumers are already anticipating these price increases and making car purchases sooner rather than later. Okay, moving on to more Donald Trump threats. Donald Trump reiterated his threat towards Iran, stating that if Tehran does not agree to a deal with the U.S. regarding its nuclear program, it will face bombing, the likes of which they've never seen before, and potential secondary tariffs, which we talked about in the first story. But these remarks came after Iran had rejected direct negotiations with Washington the previous week, although Trump mentioned that U.S. and Iranian officials were still in communication. By the way, I don't know why I say Iran and Iran. It just kind of comes out, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Let me know what you say. Do you say Iran or Iran or Iran? How do you pronounce it? Let me know. I'm on social media everywhere at Rob Forsider or at News Influx. And on my website at newsinflux.net. You can contact me there, send in a voice memo. I might feature you on the show if you do that. But anyway, Trump also referred to the possibility of imposing secondary tariffs, which would target countries buying Iranian goods, similar to the tariffs he recently authorized on buyers of Venezuelan oil. Iran has also refused direct talks with the U.S. while under its maximum pressure campaign and military threats, but has indicated a willingness to continue with indirect negotiations. This policy was reaffirmed by the Iranian president. Trump also withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal during his first term, and that had the subsequent reimposition of sanctions, which led Iran to exceed the agreed-upon limits of its uranium enrichment program. Western powers suspect Iran of seeking nuclear weapons, a claim that they deny, stating its programs is for civilian energy purposes. The next thing we have to talk about is there was recently a devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck central Myanmar, followed by a 6.7 magnitude aftershock. The disaster has resulted in over 1,700 deaths and more than 3,400 injuries in Myanmar, and at least 300 people still missing. Tragically, at least 18 people died in neighboring Thailand due to the quake. The earthquakes have caused widespread destruction in Myanmar, damaging or destroying countless buildings, including hospitals, and severely impacting infrastructure like roads, bridges, power supplies, and communication networks. Rescue efforts are underway, primarily led by local volunteers who often lack adequate equipment. The scale of the devastation is so immense that the Red Cross has described it as the worst seen in Asia in over a century. Some estimates suggest the death toll in Myanmar could eventually exceed 10,000. In Thailand, a 30-story building under construction in Bangkok collapsed, resulting in 11 confirmed deaths and 78 people still missing. Rescue efforts continue at this site. Myanmar's ruling junta has reported the high casualty figures and requested international assistance, a rare move given the country's isolation. Several countries, including China, Russia, India, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and the U.S., have pledged and begun sending aid and personnel. The U.S. has committed $2 million in aid and is deploying an emergency response team. The earthquake has exacerbated the already dire situation in Myanmar, which has been gripped by conflict since the 2021 military coup. While anti-coup groups have declared a partial ceasefire in the affected regions, the military has reportedly continued airstrikes. Aid agencies are concerned about the complexity of the relief efforts due to the ongoing conflict and the already significant humanitarian needs, including widespread food insecurity and displacement. Reports from some of the hardest-hit areas include a lack of government assistance so far, leaving communities to fend for themselves. International aid and rescue teams are gradually arriving to assist with the overwhelming needs. In other weather-related stories, a significant severe weather threat affecting a large portion of the United States on Sunday is all over the country. There's a tornado watch which has been issued in parts of Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri until 8 p.m. Eastern. Over 109 million Americans from the southern Great Lakes down to Texas and Louisiana are at risk for severe weather, including destructive wind gusts, very large hail, and strong tornadoes. The severe weather system is expected to move eastward, posing a threat to another 92 million people from the northeast, southwestward to the central Gulf Coast region on Monday. Later this afternoon, I'm recording this and releasing this on Sunday afternoon, so later on Sunday afternoon, the primary concern is large hail, with the potential for some hailstones to be larger than limes or hen eggs. As the day progresses into the evening and overnight hours, the risk of damaging wind gusts and tornadoes will increase. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk for an area stretching from southern lower Michigan to northeastern Texas and northern Louisiana. These destructive winds could cause widespread power outages and tree damage. There is also a risk of strong tornadoes, EF2 or higher, and a corridor from southern Indiana to northern Mississippi and eastern Arkansas. Looking ahead to tomorrow, strong to severe thunderstorms with the potential for damaging winds and tornadoes are expected from the northeast to the central Gulf Coast. A level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk covers much of the mid-Atlantic and southeast. Check your local weather stations and weather apps and stay safe if you're in the affected areas. Thank you so much for listening to News Influx today on this special Sunday edition. Check out Crypto Influx. Let me know if you think the AI is good or bad. If it's trash, if it's slop, Cool. Let me know. You can find me at newsinflux.net. Make sure you're subscribed to News Influx wherever you listen. Share the show with friends that need help staying informed, and rate the show 5 stars. I'll be back tomorrow with more progressive politics news and analysis. Have a great rest of your day.